Okay, so my internship this semester was with HJGT. It's stands for Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. And basically, just a little intro. They were a golf company that hosts tournaments across the US for boys and girls from the age of like 10 to 18. And essentially, they're in about 30 some states. So they have a few different teams, about 7 or 8 teams, kind of just stationed around. So, like, there's a team that sits in Atlanta, a team that's two teams actually down in Florida, and then my team was the team that I was on was up in the Northeast. So we traveled around from like Virginia to Tennessee. We went through New York, uh, pretty much about everywhere. We were in Pennsylvania as well, Maryland. So we've been through quite a few states. But basically each team has, a few interns on it and then a tournament director, which is kind of like your boss that you work with and on the job. And so essentially for me, so my rules and duties, basically I was a rules official for these golfers at these tournaments. And basically that just looked like, the first week we came in, we had to learn all the rules and then be able to kind of, if any of the players in the tournament had a problem, like their ball went out of bounds or something, or through a penalty area, and they need to know their options, we could help them with their options. And then along with that, we had to kind of set up the golf courses for these tournaments. So what that kind of looked like is like we had to calculate some of the yardages and put the tees down based on the age groups, because certain age groups could only play from, a certain distance. Then we also had to choose our pin locations for both days of the tournaments, and then I guess also we had tournament days are on the weekends, and there are 2 days, normally, sometimes three. Then we had to set up a starting tent where basically it was on hole one where we would start people. Then we had to put out push carts for some of them because some of the players would rent push carts. Then we had to put out ice chests with water, and then for a little bit we had biosteel and make sure they had ice in the coolers and things like that. Then, at the end of the day, when the tournament was over, as players are coming in, we had to set up a scoring area and kind of confirm scores for the players at the end of the day and make sure it got into the company system essentially. And then for me specifically, my main role was kind of like starting players. So basically, I would introduce them and like call them out as they got ready to hit their first ball off the first tee. So the next thing, goals. So basically, like the things I was kind of looking to gain here. Ooh. So basically, I was kind of looking to familiarize myself with like the rules and the guidelines kind of stand out, and then I wanted to learn how to provide good customer service, and then see the differences between like stadium operations and more like event operations. Because I did the UMSL athletics internship last semester. Then I wanted to make meaningful connections, and then I felt like I was able to achieve most of that because I kind of picked up on the rules pretty quickly. And one of the bigger things I learned was, kind of put a smile on my face and don't be afraid to make conversations with some of the parents and things like that, as far as, communicating with people and things like that and making connections. And then kind of the main difference I noticed between stadium operations and like event operations was that we were kind of focusing more on like the event itself as opposed to making sure that like everything in the stadium was kind of prepared for the event, if that kind of makes sense. And then I was definitely able to make strong connections with, my coworkers and my boss and things of that nature. So what did I learn? Pretty much what I learned was that, having to travel each week can be challenging and kind of can be draining, especially after you've been doing it for a while. But it helps if you can kind of build a routine where you can find times to like be productive as far as, balancing that work school life. Then also, it's important to kind of find time where you can have some downtime and free time and it not be taxing on you, I guess, or, preventing you from doing something you need to do, because it's important to have some downtime and be able to kind of do whatever you need to do. And I just think free time is important, especially when you're constantly on the move and have to work a lot. Now, my biggest takeaways from this internship, even though in like the job description there are certain roles and duties, there gonna be involved with your work there. There can definitely be other hats that you're gonna have to wear, most likely. And like for this job specifically, like when problems came up, we just had to solve them as interns. Like there's problems with the vehicle we had to drive and things of that nature. And when those problems come up, you might not always have too much help, so you kind of have to, put your big boy pants on, I guess, in a sense, and kind of do it yourself and figure it out. So you definitely get some like problem solving skills. Then also like we had a company card, so we had to pay for food and gas and things like that, and we had to keep track of it on like a Excel sheet. So you might have specific things you're supposed to do in a job description, but don't feel like you're gonna be limited to that because there can definitely be other things that might not be necessarily, well, I guess will be expected of you, but not presented to you in like a description. And then there are like a lot of other people out there looking to do some of the same things as you. So, even though it is like competition when it comes to going for a job, um, don't be afraid to kind of reach out and communicate and talk with these people because they might be, able to provide you with information that you might need or, that you can find important or useful. And it's also important to make sure you put your best foot forward and, do a good job with anything you get your hands on because you never know who in the company might have eyes on you, even when you don't see them or know 'em. And then, ooh, that went too fast. Personal growth, though, basically. I was able to kind of build a relationship with all the people that I've worked with. So that can definitely be helpful for me in the future because we're all kind of looking to do things in the sports world. So I know that I can call any of my fellow interns if I wanted or needed to have a conversation about something down the road. And I was also able to kind of leave my team and work a tournament in Arizona for a weekend, which was pretty cool. And I was able to kind of show that, I was proficient in being able to rules official and other things like that. So it was a unique experience for me. And then I was also kind of able to make some connections with a few of the parents and like some of the golfers as well in some of these tournaments who, they have jobs in the sports world and just like jobs in general and they already have made it in the set, so it's good to talk with them, communicate with them, see what you can learn from them. And then advice for other people, I would just kind of encourage you to just do your best because like I said before, you never know who's going to have eyes on you, so just make sure you always put that good foot forward and don't be afraid to kind of ask questions or ask for things while you're on the job because it's important to communicate and express yourself in a certain sense. Just make sure you do all these things the right way. And then also, make sure you use Dr. B as a resource because she's got a lot of connections and she wants to see everybody succeed. So she'll definitely help you out when you need help. And then be willing to accept challenges in the working industry because challenges are going to be there. Not everything's going to be easy, and it's important to kind of become comfortable being uncomfortable. And then as far as class goes, just kind of don't let your homework pile up on you. And make sure you're also, participating in class. So just make it go by quicker, if anything else. So in conclusion, basically, be willing to go out and try things in the fields you're interested in, even if it means leaving St. Louis, because you can really learn a lot. And then it's important to kind of act like a kid in a sense and, stay curious, ask questions, wonder why things are done a certain way, because then you might be able to be creative or give input on how you could change something for the better. And then these are just kind of some of the pictures real quick I wanted to show from the internships. This is like our scoring table with like trophies for the end of the tournament, me starting, some of like the things we'd have to do for setup, like putting up banners and A-frames and then tees, calculating the yardages, and then sometimes we'd have to put up our own flags, but most of the time the course would do it for us. But that's it. Thank you.